show, 5 Shark Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to another episode of 5 Stripe Weekly, and yes, it is the off season again, and the MLS Cup is upon us, but we are, of course, are not in it. But yes, before we get too far deep into a lot of the news from this past week and a little bit of MLS Cup preview, let's thank our Patreon members, Gavin Marshall, Andrew Rowicki, Jordan Beck, Nal Faruqi, and Chris James. You guys are legends. Bravo to you. But yes, everyone as well that is not part of the Patreon, yes, definitely a lot of fun stuff planned for the new season and the off season, where there will be transfer rumors galore. So definitely get involved and see how you can help us from a grassroots level. But yeah, as well, we're on the road to 10K subs. So if you are new around here or you haven't subbed, yeah, we've pretty much noticed that there are a lot of people that have not subscribed. You're watching, you're new, well, go ahead and just hit that sub button. It's absolutely free. So, but yep, let's get into those news then. And yes, welcome back, Xande Silva. He is now an official Atlanta United player on a permanent transfer. Yes, Spider-Man has returned. And yes, Atlanta United has exercised that transfer option on Silva and signed him to a contract through the 2025 and with an option for the 2026 season. But yes, Silva had 4 goals and 2 assists in 13 appearances. That's 856 minutes in the regular season and in the playoffs. Yeah, you know, it's definitely. It was rumored. It was also, you know, something that I think a lot of people were hoping. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm happy because it was reported by Doug that it's not going to be a DP level contract. So that still keeps us with an open DP slot to play with in regards to that. I'm happy that we can still have something to look forward to in terms of DP signing going forward. And also still having a capable winger in Xande. So that's exciting. I'm happy he's still here. He's an exciting player. And he has injected a lot of energy into the team in the latter half of last season. And I'm excited to see that continue into next season.
Yeah, he's definitely a vibes player for us, an energy guy. And seems to have... really helped that locker room a bit as well, where, you know, just his infectious energy has been able to kind of ignite the side in the latter half of the season. So definitely on a non-DP contract, this is smart business. And yeah, I think we're solidifying that really good transfer window that we had in the summer transfer window. But yeah, Silva, you know, obviously we saw what he was all about. Very productive, not only from a goals and assists standpoint, but, you know, from a point where he was really, I think, connecting some of our wing play and, you know, allowing us to actually look coherent in attack at times, especially from the wing, which was sorely missing for a good bit of the first half of the season. So yeah, Silva on a permanent transfer, great news. And yeah, can't wait to see you know, what he can really do in a full season with a preseason as well. Definitely looking forward to it. So but yeah, Xande Silva also said on his IG story, "It's my home now," with a pin and a red and black circle emoji. And so yeah, he knows that yeah, Atlanta, you know, it's something that I think his vibe also matches Atlanta. Like he's got that you know, it seems like, you know, English not only is a really good like he's really good at it in terms of speaking English, but it's also something that's the culture of Atlanta seems to mesh well with what he's all about. So definitely.
He's got
really
that je ne sais quoi, you might say,
Yes,
because he can speak French.
exactly. Yeah, he can speak a good number of languages, apparently, anyway, because, yeah, he's Portuguese. And, yeah, when you're in Europe, you're blessed with the ability to be able to, learn a lot of different languages and then use them. So that's usually the key, because super hard to learn languages and then just have it lay dormant. But, yeah. Next bit of news is Thiago Almada. He was speaking with ESPN Argentina, and he was quoted as saying, "I want to go to Europe now. Yes, now in this upcoming transfer window, I want to go now. I would like any top league. If I have to choose, it's the Premier League or La Liga, but I would like any top league." And, I mean, it's not really news except for the fact that he said now. But it is definitely, I think it's also this. ESPN Argentina and, just any Argentinian news outlet, they are a little bit, what's the word here? They will really kind of like spice up the questions that they ask. They ask a lot of leading questions, and, a lot of times, the people that are on the show, they'll pretty much echo kind of what they're saying a little bit, especially players. So I wouldn't take it with too much heart, but how are you reading this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of hyperbole. It's a lot of ostentatiousness, and it's fine. Like, that's what they're known for with reporting in Argentina. And that's so, yeah, exactly. Take it with a grain of salt. Understand the context. But it did strike me in a funny way when I first saw it, because it reminded me of the Eric Andre meme where he says, like, "Let me in," when he's talking about going to Europe. So, I mean, obviously he wants to. It was his goal. And that obviously hasn't changed, and that's perfectly fine. It's what everyone has come to expect. With our big marquee signings, they are going to end up in Europe, and hopefully at a top tier team. Minimum Champions League regular type team. So that's the goal. That's always been the goal for these types of players, and that's fine. I mean, it's expected. It is a little surprising that what comes at the end of this article is that Thiago and Atlanta United apparently haven't gotten any offers for him. So with that, that's like maybe a little frustration from Thiago, but at the same time, he just has to bide his time. I think he'll be perfectly fine. I think he's destined to go there, and he will end up there. He just has to maybe play another half a season with Atlanta United and solidify a MVP run. Maybe not make it the whole way, because he might get out of here in January or something, or not January, but when the first transfer in Europe happens. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes from there, but I'm not too opposed to having him for at least another half season, because that will really, really help us. We've seen how key he's been to our team last season.
Right. Yeah, I mean, of course, I think most fans would not be opposed to him staying longer than...
It's like, oh, shucks, he used to stay
exactly.
here.
It's like, oh my God, yeah, pull up my arm. But it is definitely, I think, though, one of the biggest questions is if and when how much he goes for. It's not like Atlanta United needs the money, but it is a sense that, okay, the club that he goes to, it will be important if they can afford him, and also if they will be high enough of a profile. Because it's like we sold Miggy with a record transfer fee to the likes of a really massive club in Newcastle United, who of course kind of grew in stature a little bit with not only their takeover with that nation state, but also it's it's a big enough club that now they're playing in Champions League. They have a shit ton of money. It's Almada, I think he has to go to a Champions League club, I think, at this point to I think also make it for the optics for Atl United, for it to be worth it. And for us to just sell him to some if we're going like the George Bello route, that's a mistake. But but that's why it's got to be a fairly high-profile club, or at least a team that's in the Champions League. So
yeah, and our good friends over at Scarves and Spikes interviewed Andrew Wiebe recently, and he was talking about it could be that we could sell him between the 22 and 25 million mark, which is under what Garth is expecting, which is around 30. But we could see, like maybe not a Champions League regular team, but we were talking about like a team like Napoli or something. But the Napoli of La Liga or something. I don't know, Real Betis, some other team that sometimes broaches or talks about getting into the Champions League, sometimes doesn't. And that's still a high-profile club, still a good club, but the key that Andrew B was mentioning is the sign-on clause. That we could get a big bonus from him then going from that club, then jumping to a Premier League club, and then getting a large sign-on fee from that. So that could also be a way. That could also be a way of going about it, or it could be the outright Premier League can afford 30 million or something. But again, they haven't come in yet, so who's to say?
Exactly. And so that sell-on clause could be really, really important. A lot of Argentinian clubs do that. Of course, they've done that to us. And in that respect, if it's not this next club, maybe it's the club that he eventually ends up at. But great points. And it's also very interesting. Almada, he mentioned Gabriel Heinze, our former coach, of course, that Heinze wanted him in Atlanta, but he also cites him as the coach who taught me the most about the game on and off the pitch, which, I mean, makes sense. He was his coach at Vélez Sarsfield, and it also, it was a seminal time for Almada as well when he was, getting into the side. But so that's no surprise. Some people might take that as a slight to, Gonzalo Pineda or something like that. But I mean, I think some people are maybe just reading too much into it. But let's move on from that to U.S. soccer news, which there is aplenty. And U.S. Soccer has selected a site in Fayette County, Georgia, for the future home of the National Training Center. And this will directly impact each of U.S. Soccer's 5 strategic pillars. This was made following a robust and competitive process after looking at 9 different locations within the wider Metro Atlanta area. And so it will be at Trilith in Fayette County. And if you know anything about that, there's a big film studio there, as well as there's a huge community. It's this kind of like, I wouldn't say bohemian, but it's like this little like self-sustaining community that's been built there. And it's going to cover more than 200 acres of land. And not only that, the Coca-Cola company, they seem to be kind of one of the parts that really kind of made it, I guess, cross over the line, where it was like, okay, this is going to be the spot, because they're a founding partner for the National Training Center, and they played an important role in U.S. Soccer's decision to bring that center to this corporate company's hometown. So, really amazing stuff. I mean, Atlanta, or Georgia more specifically, is now the home of the National Training Center. What do you think?
I mean, it's going to be a little rough seeing how Coca-Cola is going to now replace water in terms of all of the fluids that United States players drink during games and training practices. Yeah. That might be difficult to deal with, but besides that, I think it's a great thing for Georgia. Obviously, we have a bit of a vested interest in it being here. All eyes on us. That's great. We are getting more high-profile games, like Copa America being a Mercedes-Benz, things like that. I mean, I'm expecting to see more of it. I mean, it's gonna be the first time in my life I get to see the United States in Atlanta. So like, that's awesome. Being able to just hop in my car and drive to the training center, like that's pretty cool. You know, a little bit south of the city, but like I can still get there. You know, and it's just having the Atlanta United training, you know, top of the line facility, and the United States one. The synergy between those two is going to be big. Just soccer culture in general, it's going to be really, really expansive here in Atlanta and in Georgia in general. I think this is just the start. I mean, there's no way that this is where it starts and ends in terms of soccer development here in Atlanta and the South in general. I think we might start to see more things happen here. I don't know what shape or form that may take, but I would keep an eye on it. This is a hotbed. Things are seeded here, and I think we're going to see a lot of stuff start popping out of the soil.
Indeed, yeah. Great points. And most of all, that, everyone's going to just only be drinking Coke. Yeah. No, obviously, tongue-in-cheek, obviously, Coke has some other products that are water-based. But in terms of, as well, though, I mean, it's like the point about Atlanta and just Georgia, like this not just stopping here. I mean, we're already a hub for a good number of things, not only the film community, but also, in terms of the airport, this is the biggest airport in the world.
Which is probably the reason why they chose the southern part of the city to do this, to put this thing there, instead of like, up north or something.
Right, exactly. That it's fairly close. It's not that close, but it's fairly close to the airport, and obviously a bus ride will take them there. But I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's something that's going to put Georgia even further on the map. Where the previous places, while they were good for the U.S. men's national team, I think we have a really promising generation that will need top of the line everything, and this is a great step in that direction. And as well, with the next bit of news, that Copa America 2024 will feature 2 matches at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which includes the opening match on June 20th with Argentina, and a group stage match on June 27th for the United States. And so, incredible stuff that, the Benz...
Hoping that's USA and Uruguay. That would be a really cool game to see.
Exactly, because the draw also was revealed today, which was a Thursday for full transparency. December 7th, rather. I lost count of which day it was, but basically though, U.S. men's national team, they drew Bolivia, Panama, and Uruguay. So definitely a tough assignment with Uruguay, but the rest should be okay. Maybe a banana peel, but hopefully not. But that would be really, really great. And yes, we might see good old his teeth are offside, Luis Suarez. So definitely will be very, very spicy affair if he does play. But
do you have a USA jersey?
No, I do not. But
neither do I. But I think we might have to get one.
I think, we'll just share one. We'll just
that's right.
We'll buy a really large one and just parade around in it.
I was thinking more of a timeshare, but we could do that
too. Like we're conjoined twins. I think we'll just do it that way. It'll have to be probably a triple XL or something. But
keep a lookout at the 27th game for us in the trench coat sized USA jersey.
Right, exactly. Very tongue-in-cheek this episode, but yes. Moving on from that, we've got some news that we're gonna hedge our bets here, but basically Caleb Pongratz, who writes for a fan-sided site, he tweeted that, and it's pro soccer but he tweeted, "I'm told from multiple sources that there will be 4 MLS DP slots per team in 2024. Of course, that's been rumored. We're gonna hedge our bets here. That's this source isn't the best, but we've heard this, and 4 DPs. Yeah, it's about time.
It just makes sense at this point,
Right, exactly. With Messi changing, it's pretty much Messi rules, and the league-wide expansion of that, just is logical. So if it does happen, I mean, it's gonna be amazing who we might be able to bring in. Would it be a goalkeeper? Would it be a central midfielder? Would it be, obviously we've been harping that a central midfielder should be one of the first DP moves, but man, Colorado Rapids had a rumor today, per the Athletic, that Zach Steffen, of course, of Man City, is possibly rumored to be signing with the Rapids, and that's somebody that I think would be perfect for Atlanta United. Someone that's good on the ball and also good in penalties. Completely what we need. But,
where is he at now? He's at like Middlesbrough or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Middlesbrough. So it's annoying that a player of his caliber is coming back to MLS. That's a little bit tail between his legs a little bit, but with the whole discovery rights and all that, that's just.
I mean, Man City's a tough team to be competitive on if you're not like the best in the world. So
exactly.
And I mean, that's kind of almost like he probably was a little torpedoed by going to that club versus maybe going to a more middle of the pack club that he could have thrived at. But I don't know. That just it is what it is.
That's the tough part. I mean, that could be a cautionary tale for Thiago Almada, but it is also easier as an outfield player to be able to do that, to get more minutes than, say, a goalkeeper, which, Aaron Ramsdale of Arsenal definitely knows a lot about that, which, there's my Arsenal reference for the episode. But anyway, moving on from that, Doug Roberson, he tweeted out that it appears that next year's League's Cup between MLS and Liga MX will start when Copa America ends. And he's also pontificated that he's guessing that MLS plays concurrently with Copa, but again, pauses for League's Cup. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a busy year of football, soccer. It's gonna be fun, but it also will be very taxing on these players that are gonna be playing in all these matches. Because I don't know if we'll have too many of them, but it will definitely be some of our players, and most likely Thiago Almada. So, if he is still with the team, that might be the case. But you have any thoughts on this?
Like you said, it's going to be very congested. It makes me kind of think that, in addition to a 4th DP slot, that they raise the salary cap of each team as well in order to pay the players overall just a little bit more to compensate for the extra amount of games they'll be required to play. So that's something that can alleviate that a little bit. Obviously, being in better physical shape to handle an extra load like that is going to be, some players just can't do that. There's a lot of talk about how that's just not player focused or player centralized, in terms of worrying about their needs and concerns that they have about their fitnesses. So like it's worrying a bit in terms of will we see more injuries and things like that. But I just hope that they end up paying them more, and that lets them sleep a little bit better at night, knowing I gotta play more, and I might get more injuries, but at least I'm making more money now.
Right. And there is, with Leagues Cup and any of the competitions, there's prize money. And so, the further you get into the competition, you get a little bit more as a bonus. And yeah, Mike and I definitely know all about, lack of fitness, and yeah, we've been doing a kind of collective workout, and yeah, whew, even just running a mile and a half is kicking my butt at least, and it's timed, just so you know, just for the viewers, but it is. I'm woefully out of shape, and so it's a lot. It's a lot. Also,
Starting to get back into things.
Exactly.
The initial hurdle of
yes,
first couple times getting out there is just tough, but once you get by it, it can kind of snowball a little bit and feel a little bit better.
exactly. Yeah, and also pro tip: don't eat a heavy lunch, aka don't eat curry right before you run. But anyway, next up is that Joseph Martinez. He posted on IG. He said, "quote I am very happy and proud to have received the quote key to Seika Sports School, unquote, highest distinction of the institution. It was an exciting and loving afternoon among hundreds of children and families, which also served as the perfect setting to present my quote Joseph Martinez Foundation, whose purpose is to support grassroots and training football in Venezuela. I'm also very grateful that the Seika Sports Escuela is the operational headquarters of my foundation, a space that for more than a decade has been the cradle of exceptional players and people in my beloved Carabobo state. I am a close witness of the enormous effort of its managers and workers to maintain high standards of competitiveness and values through sports and education." But yeah, awesome stuff from Joseph Martinez. It's, yeah, I mean, he may not be an Atlanta United player anymore, but this is fantastic to see that he's giving back to his home country, which has been very much it's a tumultuous time in that country right now, and this is some very, I guess, for lack of a better word, yeah, it's just incredibly positive stuff that, yeah, Joseph Martinez, just just a community guy, and just really great to see. But any thoughts here?
Yeah, you love to see people giving back, to where they came from, things like that. Good people doing good things.
Yeah, love it. Well, yes, you may have realized that there is a season-ending competition, if you care, but a lot of LA United fans maybe have checked out. But there is an MLS Cup final that is being played on Saturday between LAFC and Columbus Crew. Of course, the Columbus Crew knocked us out in the first round, but yeah, they will be playing at lower.com field. And yes, the Crew, they beat the Supporter Shield winners along the way, FC Cincy, in the Hell is Real derby. And yeah, I mean, Wilfred Nancy's men, they are a tough customer. But on the other side, LAFC, they won the MLS Cup last year, and if LAFC can win, they will be the first side since the LA Galaxy in 2011 and 2012 to win the competition on consecutive seasons. So, yeah, some people might be rooting against them to do that. I personally will be, because, yes, it's just one of these things. LA United, we have to try to be the best expansion side ever, and yeah, having LAFC do that, that's just not in the cards. We can't allow them to do that. But so Columbus Crew also, if they win, makes us look better. So I think there's a lot of positives in seeing Columbus Crew win. Also, as well, if a Julian Gressel and Darlington Nagbe, if they lift the trophy, I'm okay with that. But yeah, who and what and other thoughts do you have on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a question, like kind of how we like to do a question for everyone at the end of the episode. It's like, does it make you feel a little bit better that we could, if Columbus wins, we will have lost to the would-be champions. Does it make you feel a little bit better about what we went through? The fact that every team would have lost against Columbus had they played against them. I mean, I feel like that makes me feel a little bit better. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, but it's like at least, I mean, it's and that was, I remember we was listening to Jason Longshore and Kevin Egan on his podcast sometime earlier this week, where he was talking about how, this is a team in Columbus that is a team that you don't want to be paired up against in the tournament, especially first round. This is the nightmare team. And of course, that's who we get. So like, it is what it is. We got them and we lost, and they probably are just gonna, I hate that when that happens to my teams. You go up against it, because it's like you could have enjoyed a satisfying, slightly successful deep run into the playoffs had you just avoided the buzzsaw team from the beginning. But no, you had to get knocked out immediately because you got thrown right into the lion's den right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much that, and it's also this, the Columbus Crew, they enter this match unbeaten in 14 successive MLS encounters at Lower.com Field. And they've only lost once there all year, 2-1 versus Inter Miami, and that's against Messi. So, if you're a betting man, I'd probably put some bets on this and kind of steer it towards the Crew. But anybody that likes to bet against the underdog, LAFC, that's a pretty hefty underdog too, I would say too. So, man, that's a tough call, but very curious to what you guys think. But also speaking of LAFC, they've been fined $100,000, and their supporters group 3252, their privileges, they have been suspended pending an investigation by MLS due to allegations of serious misconduct that the league announced on Wednesday night, because they set off some flares not authorized by MLS, and it was something that delayed the game. And also for the next match, they will have their privileges restricted, and the fans could face other sanctions next season after the league completes its investigation. But not Atlanta United related, but definitely very interesting, because you have a lot of people that want flares set off at Atlanta United in the Benz at matches there, but it's one of those. It's not sanctioned for a reason, because it can disrupt the match, which not unbeknownst at an Argentinian match or a Brazilian match for sure. But definitely is something that's it could add to the atmosphere, but if it delays, it could really kind of crush a vibe too. But what are your thoughts on this?
It's regulated in Europe and elsewhere. Just regulate it here. Allow them to do it under the parameters that are safe, and then don't also delay the game. It's just that simple. Allow them to have their fun. Just do it in a responsible way.
Yeah. I mean, I know our mantra is rowdy and proud, but it is. I guess, we have to temper our rowdiness just a little bit. So, but that is the news, and that gets us to the mailbag, and you guys send in these questions through IG story. Please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. But first question, it comes from, and this is tough, man. Like, this is putting you on the spot, 100%. I know. But A12 Hernandez asks, best goalkeeper we can sign for next season.
God damn it, A12 Hernandez.
Yeah. Super tough.
Zach Steffen, sure.
Yeah, right. This is the tough part about like MLS, is that you really, you don't really know the level of player that each team is really going to go for, and that means we're plucking players from Ligue 2, or we're, it's stuff like that no one's like, we're not scouts, we're not prospecting various like very obscure leagues that there's not even television on. Like, it's just something
if you want us to.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can subscribe, and then we can put out that time and money and effort towards doing that for you.
Exactly. But so it's definitely something that's I mean, I would love to do this as a full-time job. Yes, so help a brother out. But
another goalie like Ethan Horvath would be cool. Having keeping in the United States camp of things. Obviously I would love Matt Turner because he's my favorite goalkeeper, but not gonna happen. So
probably not. But he is falling out of favor at Nottingham Forest, so I wouldn't mind him.
Definitely wouldn't mind him, of course.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
he would command DP money at this stage.
Yeah, probably would. But yeah, a really great shot stopper, and probably somebody that can stop a penalty. So, anyway, no slight whatsoever, just facts. Anyway, next question comes from Ali_HH with 4 E's. Why is Pineda still our coach?
Why is Pineda still our coach?
Yeah.
So last week we kind of talked about it a little bit, in that we described the leash length in which Garth has given Pineda and Carlos, for that matter, and they allowed Pineda and Carlos to kind of course correct on their own since Garth got here, and I believe up to his standards, they have in his mind. Whether or not you agree with that, is an entirely different thing. But what matters is what Garth thinks. And if Garth thinks they've course corrected and he sees potential in what they want to build here in terms of their project, he wants to keep him around. And if he thinks that, then I'm okay with it, because I think Garth is a heck of a lot smarter than me when it comes to this stuff. So if he says, I see potential, I want to keep Pineda around, then I think we should at least give him as long as Garth thinks we should. I don't think Garth will have any problem whatsoever letting him go if he is not the guy. So we'll give him a little bit longer. I will want to say the leash probably looks like another half season. If Pineda is doing god awful, then I think it's probably the end of the road. But I just cannot see that happening. With what we've seen with Pineda's tactics, his strategy, it's enough to get the job done in terms of getting into the playoffs and being a competitive team with the latter half of last season's team that we currently have. That's enough to get the job done to be competitive again. And that's really what they're aiming for. And we're only going to strengthen that coming into next season pretty significantly, I wager. And I think you're going to see a pretty beastly team coming into 2024, hopefully. And so Pineda might end up starting to look pretty good. But it, again, and this is something I was talking about, a lot of people are talking about, I don't think our performance was necessarily based on like a large percentage of Pineda's tactics or strategy. I think it was largely having to do with our personnel. Now that we have better personnel, we are playing better. What a surprise. So I think if we continue to have better personnel, I almost think it doesn't matter as much with the strategy and tactics, because Pineda, I think, is using a fairly, milk toast strategy and tactics set. It's not like this is revolutionary. It's not like it's, overly cautious or underly cautious. I think it's just kind of, this is a standard way to play soccer in the modern game. And most teams, most players can adapt and learn how to play it and do this system. It's not like it's some crazy, uncommon strategy or something like this. So, I think that's why Pineda is going to stick around a little bit longer. We're going to have better personnel. Pineda is going to look better if we do well, which I fully expect we will. So yeah, I think if you think anything other than that when it comes to Pineda, I'm not quite sure what basis you have for that. I'd be interested to hear it. Like again, he had no midfield. Pineda had no midfield. How the heck are you going to tactics and strategy when you have no midfield? And now he has one, and all of a sudden we're doing well. So, riddle me that.
Yeah, and it's great points. I think maybe as a counterpoint, seeing kind of the, I guess, discussion across the interwebs is that basically, the playoff series didn't cover him in glory, probably.
It's the best team in the league. Like, they're gonna win MLS Cup. Like, it's again, and we are the only team to have beaten Columbus in the playoffs.
And obviously, yeah, it is a 3-game series, and so at home,
Cincinnati could not beat Columbus in Cincinnati. That says a lot.
And so it is definitely like one of those things where at our full strength with Almada on the pitch, at the Benz, we were able to do a number on them. The issue was obviously that first match, and then of course the third match. The third match, I think it was a little bit more expected, but the tactics of the first match is, I think, what rubbed some people the wrong way on Pineda. That even further, more abrasion, more, I guess, uneasiness.
I mean,
maybe.
it's like what do you expect? Like in terms of what he did, which he played more defensively, right, and tried to hit them on the counter, which is what the wisdom of like any soccer coach or strategy would tell you to do that in that case. Like that's like strategy 101. It's not, play your game and they know exactly how to dismantle that, and they're in their house, and if they hurt you early and then they can just run away with it, which they did, it's exactly what happened. So it's like, I don't know either way you're not winning that game, so I don't know exactly what you want. Right.
And it was individual errors that led to our first goal, because it was Miles Robinson who kind of carelessly passed it to a former teammate in Darlington Nagby, who scored the first goal.
Well, it also started with another error of Saba not letting it go out of bounds too.
Exactly.
Like and this is not exactly, I mean, it's errors, but it's not accidental errors. Columbus has a incredibly good press, and it suffocated our defense, which we attempted to play out the back, and this is how you get hurt when you play out the back.
Yeah.
And so, Columbus is an excellent team at executing teams in that strategy. So that's what happened.
Exactly. So, it's definitely, it's sound arguments. It's one of those things where Gonzalo Pineda.
Anyway, come at me. I'm just saying, just come at me.
Yeah.
Find me on Twitter. Let's go.
Right. Exactly. It's MW_ATL UTD Fan TV. So, find them. But, kind of similar question, but I think I like the second part of this is Ivan_Elias4. He asks, is Pineda's time up in Atlanta, and why can't we get top players from Europe like Miami? So obviously we talked about Pineda already, but the top
and also
players.
Ali, I that wasn't directed at you, by the way. Just that was just generally people, not specifically you.
Right. But in terms of getting top players from Europe like Miami, I mean, obviously there's only one Messi, and there's only one Ronaldo, and he's in Saudi Arabia. But in terms of maybe the other top players, maybe not world-class legendary players. There's the likes of, say, an Antoine Griezmann, maybe a Olivier Giroud, or other players that are nearing the end of their careers. That the whole retirement league thing, Luis Suarez. I mean, it's just one of those. It's never been our MO, so
right.
I'm just not sure why we would do that now.
The question was, can we? And yes, we can.
Yeah.
We absolutely can. It's will we is the question. And again, like JJ said, it's not our MO to do so. But Garth has bandied about the concept of going away from that to a degree, not fully. I think MLS still favors a team investing in young talent with like their young DP stuff and other things. So I don't think it's going away entirely, but I think there's going to be some movement away from it, and so I think we will see. I mean, Yorgos is a perfect example of the type of player he wants to bring on. So I think we'll see a little bit more of that.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, yeah, Lionel Messi, he tore up Leagues Cup, and obviously next season it will be a different story with him being able to play an entire season. But you see the likes of Denny Bouanga and Cucho Hernandez, who they're not international superstars, but they're both the best players on their team and playing well. Cucho Hernandez maybe has a shout from Darlington Nagby, but in terms of Denny Bouanga, for sure, LAFC's best player. And that's the thing, it's like Denny Bouanga, he came from Ligue 2 as well. So
I know, yeah, the mining of that league is incredible right now.
Yeah, and so that's the madness of it, is that, okay, yes, well, obviously if you pick up a bench player on a Premier League team or, a La Liga team or something like that, yeah, clearly you will probably have maybe a lot more talented of a player. I think bets are that would be the case, but yeah, it's just not really the MLS MO at the moment, and never has been ours. And okay, yeah, if we do, fantastic.
I'm sure LA Galaxy is going to go big. I mean, Chicharito's leaving, so they're gonna go. I'm sure they're gonna splash like crazy.
Right, exactly, and that's definitely their MO. They're the OGs of that MO, and I mean, the other teams as well. Okay, yeah, you've seen LAFC kind of do that with Gareth Bale, but it's that he's pretty much a bench player on LAFC, so it's just one of these, like, it hasn't really been proven to be that effective lately. You see the likes of Jordan Shaqiri at Chicago Fire, who's doing jack shit. So yeah, it's not exactly.
Zlatan was fun when he was here.
Exactly, Zlatan, and there's only again so many of those. I mean, and this is the thing, man. Like we've got our own Saba,
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Not Saba, of course, with Wrexham and Ted Lasso, but Saba is a very good player, but is not internationally known, of course. But I'm very curious if Saba Laptanise chose his name on the back of the shirt like that because of some influences. Curious. But
I feel like he's a smart guy. Could be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he loves NBA. Like, he, I'm sure, is looking at American things, and definitely influenced by them. But I think that's all the questions for this week. But that's pretty much the episode, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, very simply, who's winning MLS Cup? So let us know in the comments below what you think. Did it break your bracket? Probably did for some people. Unfortunately, it did not mine. And it's very unfortunate because obviously, the Homer pick and then the mind pick is definitely different. And
the Galaxy brain pick, yeah.
Exactly. And right now, that might be looking pretty good for some people if you're in our Discord. But let us know in the comments below. Looking forward to what you have to say. But guys, that's it for us. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I've been AJ, that's been Michael, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.